Well, it's a brand new day. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm trying to make it my goal, we'll see how it goes, to check in with you more often. And as I'm listening to so many people like you, scouring for information that will give me some indication about where things are going, listening to people's stories, the number one thing that's going on is people are in fear for their future. And as I listen, there's two things that I think that I can contribute to this conversation. One is that as I listen to mental health experts talk about what they're experiencing, it reminds me of when I was looking into farmers committing suicide and people that were trying to counsel them that had zero personal experience. The same is true with veterans. Trying to give people support without having personally experienced it's a great theory, but the reality is we really want to touch base with people that know what they're talking about, but also that have gone through it. When I was in the emergency room, until I'd had a significant primary loss, to me that was the equivalent of losing a child, I didn't realize how ineffective I was and inappropriate until I had suffered that incredibly deep grief that comes with the loss of a child. And so as we enter into this terrifying new future, I want to give you just a little bit of thought about what it may start feeling like, and a little bit of hope, but a little bit of concern, and most importantly, a whole lot of courage. So first, we're going to take a deep breath, and I'm going to see you on the other side.
And I've been putting out fire.
I think a raindrop just fell on me. So what I really want to say about what's happening is, especially if you're older, which is most of the people that watch me, is I've heard, all my retirement is wiped out. And that happened to me, in 2007, 2008, I lost everything when that crash happened in 2008. And I made the mistake of being a good girl and following all the rules and blowing through all my savings, blowing through all my retirement, because I didn't want to break the rules, right? I didn't want to do the wrong thing. Was that the right decision? Probably not. If I could go back, I would undo that decision. But that was who I was. I was responsible, I was dependable, and if I made a commitment, I was going to keep it. And I don't want to change that about myself, but what losing everything really did for me is it placed a tremendous amount of limitations, but also a tremendous amount of freedom, because my decision making is much more simple. And why that's important as we move into a wildly uncertain future is the power of losing everything explains to you what's actually valuable and who you want to owe your life, your permission to live, your safety, your security. Who do you want to hold those strings? And as we move into this moment of time where we're being asked to maybe stay home for 18 months, which is insane, the thing that pops into my head is this is not America. This is what people fought and died for. Was the ability to have the freedom to make their own decisions and to not let an external control try to keep them safe. And we've seen all the dystopian movies, and now that we're moving into something that may look very much like that, the future that unfolds will be the one that you allow to have happen. And if your fear is so great of uncertainty in the future that you're willing to sacrifice everything, did you see the little bug? In the here and now for something that may happen or may not, then we get what we deserve. And this is the test. This is how far can we push. And if the external forces can say, okay, well, we're going to tell people they don't go out, and nobody goes out, and we just submit, we let everything that so many people have worked so hard to build throughout their life, then we lose, they win. And it's not technically a win-lose situation. I see it, this is why I say courage, I see it as a character test. And so one of the great fears I think that you have when you're losing everything is how am I going to survive? How am I going to make it? And so I want to say a couple things based on my personal experience and, the research and things I've done and working with other people, is that even though you don't understand what the future is going to hold, you're still probably going to be okay. If things are bad, they're only going to be bad in the short term. They're not going to be bad forever. And if you've made it to this age, whatever age that is, with a fairly good life, then you have a lot to be grateful for. I'm going to tell you that people are inherently good, that most people are good. And once you get out of the main cities, they're even better. I've been shocked by the kindness and the generosity of people. The other thing I want to say is there's never a shortage of solutions. One of the hardest lessons I've learned throughout this process is it's not about how to solve the problem. The problem solving is simple. It's always about the development of our character and the choices that we make. So it's letting go of what we think we need to do to fix all the problems that we see around us, and really taking this opportunity to reprioritize what's valuable, what's important, what you're willing to sacrifice, and what you're willing to submit to. And this is why it takes a great amount of courage, because everything good that will come out of this moment is what we're willing to do under absolute uncertainty of outcome. I said recently to someone, if it gives you comfort, convenience, or safety, it's also a means of control. The simpler, the more physical, the more you can be responsible, or at least your community, the more decentralized that a solution is, the more freedom it will allow you. It's not the promise of safety and security or comfort. It is the promise that you have the ability to alter the outcome. And everything that we are on the brink of giving up in this moment, it may not come back. And so I'm going to keep talking about this, but I just wanted to take this moment to reassure people that as dire as things are, and it's scary, I know, I lost everything. I lost all my money, I lost my home, I lost retirement, my health care, most of my stuff. It's scary, but it also unfolded a future and a way of being that I didn't know existed, that has transformed my experience as a human, that has improved the quality of my life immensely. And that's really what I teach and share right now, because it's not exciting when you're comfortable, and it becomes invaluable when you start to get uncomfortable and afraid. And so as much as I hate this crisis, I am hopeful that you will tap into your courage and become who you were meant to be as human, because you have everything that you need within you. It's just the willingness to make that decision and do the work. So if you're interested in learning more, there's links below. We're going to take a deep breath. I'm going to say thank you for joining me here. It's going to be okay. It may get uncomfortable, but it's going to be okay. And with that, my friends, I will see you next time.
This is not